Alex, what up, man? How are you?
I'm great, man. Great to see you.
You too, man. I guess my kids are going to be a little sad because like they love American Ninja Warrior. You know, they love it. They love it. And you are an American Ninja Warrior.
Appreciate it. Let's get him in here.
So yeah, nah, they're downstairs, bro. They're good. They got some shit to
Yeah,
do.
fair enough.
You said they're moving to Boulder. Maybe they'll swing through when we have a coffee because I'm right
Let's
outside
do
of
it.
Boulder. So yeah, they would love it. So
Done.
man, so I mean, let's just jump into it. You said offline that you were like this change of pace, universe kind of gives you signs kind of guy. Uh 2020 in California. Everyone I've talked to that's spent 2020 in California said California sucked. Uh so what were the other signs, man? Like talk to me about this.
It's too funny. I mean, listen, mine has nothing to do with anything except I've been here.
Okay.
I've been in LA for 9 years. I've been in Venice for 5 years. It's been awesome. It's more of me listening to. I was ready in beginning of 2020 before all this that I was like, all right, it's time for a change. I mean, one thing I love about the work that I do with speaking is, pre 2020, it was traveling literally, I'd be gone on the road for like a week and a half. And so it didn't really feel like I was living here as much as just kind of like here for a week or two and then gone again. And now it's been pretty much 2020 was all virtual speaking, remote. And as it comes back to be a hybrid, I mean, location really hasn't been a deciding factor. And the main thing is I just want to live somewhere as an adult that's different than Los Angeles. Nothing good or bad, just I want to be an adult living with a different way of life.
Right. When you say a different way of life, what do you mean?
Well, it's the only place that I've been as an adult as my
Okay.
residence. I moved right out after college. I moved to basically West Hollywood and then was there and then moved to Venice Beach, California. And I mean, honestly, I think LA gets a bad rap. And I've met so many incredible people here. I've definitely met people that give LA the branding that it is.
I mean, I'm one of those. I'm not an LA fan.
I think it depends on the groups. I mean, for most of my years here, the two groups that I spent the most time with were stand-up comedians and American Ninja Warriors. So like those are two pretty awesome communities of very, to do stand-up, you have to have a good self-awareness and you got to have a lot of great qualities in order to just do that pursuit. And then same with American Ninja Warrior. So yeah, I've honestly loved my time here. I really have. Venice is awesome. But yeah, I want to live and see what another place is like.
I love pockets of LA.
Yeah.
I'll come back to it. Like there's pockets of LA that I love. Like I love Newport Beach. Like I love to go to Newport Beach with my family, hang out. Don't leave Newport Beach. Like fucking stay right there because if you got to leave, right, we all know what the traffic looks like.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, that's man. I'm just like, especially cleaning out my place. I've had so many chapters here, and this might be interesting. Like when I first came out, I was doing entertainment and coaching high school lacrosse. And coaching high school lacrosse was.
Oh my God, my kids are gonna love you. But they are so into lacrosse right now, especially my little one.
Let's talk,
bro. My little one just fucking loves it. Like, and he's this. He's 7. This was his first season, and okay, he's kind of a freak athlete, right? Because he's got an older brother, right? He's got an older brother that he's just been enamored with for his whole life, and like literally since he was a baby, and his older brother is the youngest of all the kids that played in the neighborhood. So Simon always wanted, that's Simon's the youngest, Kanan's the oldest. So Simon always wanted to just keep up with Kanan. So if Kanan was the youngest, now Simon's really the youngest. Like, Simon has like two friends his own age. And he just, he loves lacrosse and he loves football. So fuck.
That's a great combo. And there's a great, little siblings tend to do well in those kind of sports because you're playing up with the big, your bigger siblings. And then, so listen, man, lacrosse is so, that was my sport
Okay.
All of my life, my dream was to play in college. So it was absolutely everything to me. And then, I had a pretty big life switch, which was, again, listening to my heart and universe. And I was like, I want to do performing. And so it was almost like I thought that chapter, because lacrosse is very, at that time, East Coast, you go into finance. So I thought it was going to be almost done for me. And then I started coaching high school lacrosse. Best thing I've ever done. Call it my grad school. But yeah, in doing that, I mean, I've just like, I think to those years in LA, my first like handful, and I was just going a mile a minute because I was coaching high school lacrosse. So all these different schools and high schools and games. And then I would literally beeline over to like acting class or to do a comedy show. And I was just like, that's been great. And I'm thankful that Alex then did that, but I don't want to be running around like crazy. Yeah.
Right. It's a hard thing, right? It's so interesting. Like this, what got you to where you are now is those things that you did before, but you don't want to do those things that you did before now, right? It's such an interesting like dichotomy in life.
Well, it's interesting though. It's not that I don't want to do. So it's not that I don't want to do hard things, and to the power of your podcast, it's that version I think I look at and I'm like, it was chasing. I was chasing a lot. And that's good, especially as you're getting going, you got to chase. But I think right now where I feel more, and it's a different kind of hard, is to just stand and be of value, be of purpose, and take the risk of being enough of value, enough of purpose that I don't have to chase.
Explain that more.
I think
that's what my therapist says to me when I know I'm in trouble. Well, she's
explain more.
Explain more, please. I don't understand. Can you explain more? Shit! Here we go. This is where we're gonna get stuck for the hour.
And I love that you said that, man. We'll circle back to therapy because I also think for athletes, and it's a beautiful thing for anyone. But I think I just didn't have a strong sense of value in myself. And so I was like chasing to go do anything and meet everyone and I think that quality can be really good. But I think if I'm trying to like visualize it, it's less of this like laser that's like diffused over 9 or 10. I had so many different balls in the air. And again, I'm thankful that I did all those different things. But now I'm like, okay, from all those balls, this is what I'm actually best at doing. And I think this is like, that's what I mean. It's a different kind of hard. There's some comfort in not going all in on something, in having another ball in the air, on having another 2 or 3 balls in the air. Cause it's like, this one doesn't work out. At least yeah, exactly. And so I had like multiple balls in the air. I was wearing a lot of different hats at that time, like from being a coach to being an entertainer, to being a producer, to like, I just had so many different ones. And now I'm like, and I need to keep challenging myself because I see myself wanting to even put on like another hat. And I'm like, no, dude, this is who you are. This is what you do. And don't chase.
It's it's the opposite of a ball, right? It's the center of like a bike wheel with spokes.
Yeah.
The center's the center. So your ball's up at the top, and then you have spokes that come off of it of things that you do, but they all point at those things. Like coach and entertainer don't go fucking hand in hand, right? Like one's over here and one's over here, and they don't have anything to do with each other.
Well, and that's what's crazy, man. And this is one where like, and we can unpack this. I'm very thankful for what I do now, which is, speaking is essentially has brought together coach and entertainer, which is crazy to me. Like I was doing stand-up comedy and I loved it. That's full on performing entertainment. I freaking love that. But there was a part of me that missed the coaching. And so, yeah, I'm very thankful that speaking even exists as a career and a thing. I
hear you. I'm going down that endeavor currently, trying to, like this speaking thing, like telling the story.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about your story, so how did Alex, how old are you?
34.
34. Okay. You seem very holistic, right? You seem like you're a dude that's paying attention to your feelings and your emotions and where you are in life, not just the what you're doing, but the whys of why of what you're doing. And we're not seeing this a lot in the males, especially these days, right? We're seeing a lot of listen to me, I'm the man.
Yeah.
I'm a lion, you know?
Yeah.
Like, let's do man shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down to do man shit, and I'm down
Always.
to, always,
Yeah.
whatever man shit is. I don't fucking know what man shit is. So, I'm down to do really whatever. So,
Yeah.
What's the journey look like for you?
No, I appreciate that, man. And I started doing a men's group for this reason of, and we'll talk about it, but it was basically, I felt like there was a lot of people, me being one. I don't think they have to go against each other. I mean, and similar, coming from the world that you came from, like coming from lacrosse, there is a lot of strong, like alpha, and I love that. I love that. But I really think that to be the best at anything, I think anyone who's really, really damn good at what they do also is not just understands their mind, understands their emotions, and can use them rather than it being just like volatile variable, And that's where I look back to college lacrosse, and I was so damn good physically and skill, but I was peaks and valleys because I just was not handling my mind and my emotions. And so when they synced up, I'd score 4 goals, and when they did not sync up, I would make a train wreck of a shot that made no sense, wheels come off the bus and get benched. And, that is ultimately why I became a very good high school coach, was because I would see it happening in the players, what I was going through, but I was able to then be like, oh, wait, hold up. I was basically able to be the coach that I needed for myself.
Right. It's so interesting, man. Like until you get really into yourself.
Yeah.
Like really deep into yourself, it's very hard to get all of that under control. Like all of the stuff that you just said. And what you're saying, like this alpha thing, like for some reason and from my perspective, we have this thing like the alpha comes into the room and screams. And I definitely used to do this. Like, I used to try to scream that I was alpha. Alphas don't scream. Alphas just walk into the room and everybody can feel the presence and know that they're alpha.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to scream alpha.
Yeah. And that, so what you're saying, which I love, is also where I'm at with not chasing.
Right.
It's like, if you're of value, if you're of purpose in this world, if you have something to give to the world and offer, you should be screaming, share it and be vocal about it, about who you are and what you do. But that's just kind of this new chapter that I feel like I want to be in moving into. And that's why I say it's a different kind of hard, But yeah, I think about the men that I like really admire, or if were of impact, and you're right, they're not like loud, frenzied, in your face like that,
They can be if it's needed, right?
Sure.
Personally, like if I lost my voice because I was coaching over the weekend and my girl needed some screaming. She needed to be like, get the fuck up right now, right? Like she needed it. But then you can go back to being quiet afterwards.
What were you coaching in?
I coach martial arts, right? So I coach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I coach MMA. So
amazing.
It's it's for me, it's been really interesting is learning how to coach girls. Like, because I have a bunch of girls right now, and this whole feelings thing, this journey that I've been on, my feelings and emotions, has really helped me coach them.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, okay, if we can just get out of the way of their feelings, like realize them, speak them, put some words to them, and that way we can actually move by them. And I think, look, guys are way worse than at this, right? Because we try to, we hear the feeling or we feel the feeling maybe, and we go, oh, no.
Yeah.
Right. And we bury that thing so fucking deep, dark down. You can't get by it. It's with you all the time.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting. I feel like now I'm seeing at least, I feel like not everywhere, and it can be, it's not always, but it can be like geographical. But I think this wave of athletes coming up have had more of an opportunity for it to be okay with emotions. Versus like, I think about, you know, when I was coming up and emotions equaled soft.
Bury that shit.
Exactly. It was a hard weakness. And I do think where I always stand in is not one of like, there is a time and a place, but I go back to it. There's this huge, it literally is a fire, and you're either going to like use it and understand it and learn how to make it, how to channel it, how to use it for good, or it's just going to be this out of control thing, you know?
It's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to be there. And so you better, you got to realize it. And then you got to like, you might have to say, fuck you to it. Like in the moment, my girl this weekend, like we have something to work on moving forward. But in the moment I said, yo, you're going to have to make a fucking choice right now. Right. In this match coming up, you're going to have to make a fucking choice. And the choice is going to be whether you want to do it or you don't. So we'll deal with all the feelings later. Right. Yeah. They're here, but it's a 7-minute match. Yeah. We don't have time for your feelings to get in the fucking way. Right. So right now, bury them. Okay. We got to work on that. It's not bury forever. And I think often with our feelings, we go, okay. And especially, for example, when things actually end up working out, like your goals, right? You score 4 goals, but it just happened to work out that day. And then you're like, oh, it was great. It was great. I don't got to deal with how I was going earlier, you know? So how do you deal with that aspect of your life, right? Because you got to come back to them sometimes when you say fuck you to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, there's so many different sides of it, right? Like, I think one of them is how unpredictable like emotions can be and how unreliable sometimes.
Yeah.
Meaning like, you know, like sometimes I'll get bummed and I'm like, I can't even tell you why I'm bummed. And I'm like, well, you know, then all right, then how valuable is this being annoyed right now or being upset if I can't even freaking tell you why I am, you know? And I think that they can be really sneaky too in trying to like discourage us or get in the way. And that's where I think, and what I love about what you're saying is like digging at why, you know, and digging about where they're coming from, because then if we can understand it a little bit of like, you know, like I'm going to go work out after this. I don't really want to. I'm a little tired. I'm looking at all my stuff is like, you know, and it's half. I don't like things messy. It's like half done, you know, I'm moving out and I'm like, okay. But I also understand that if I do not do that, it's not just missing a workout. It's I'm going to start developing a little bit of contempt for myself or self-loathing. It's not just, you know what I mean? It's not just missing a workout. There's a whole bigger wheelhouse that like, whoa, that is way worse than dealing with this mess for a little bit longer, you know? So yeah, I think just figuring out where it's coming from.
So again, how did you get here? Right? How did you get to this line of thinking? Like what brought you here? I want to hear a little bit about that, because it's not, everyone doesn't land here. I think it's a more skillful way. It works way better for me. I mean, I know where I was before I started trying to see things from this perspective.
Yeah.
But I don't think we all land here. That's not the automatic of where we land.
You know, man, it's such a good question. And I do have to tip the hat to therapy in a big, big way. You know, I think coaching helped me because it had me put on a different lens. You know, I had just been this really intense player, but now I'm coaching this intense player. That helped. But I will say the greatest gift from being in therapy, and I was in a dark patch when I went into it. It wasn't my idea. My girlfriend at the time was like, she's probably like, you're crazy. Like, you got to talk to someone. I'm like, I'm not crazy. And so.
What was your dark patch? I'm going to cut you off. What was it?
Yeah, I think that and therapy helped me get awareness on this. I mean, this is now, we're going on like 8 years ago, but there was just things in my life that I was doing and didn't realize that they had impacts, you know? And I think that's one thing that therapy gave me was this really, like, my therapist was so clinical, so objective, no emotion, and it was exactly what I needed. Because I would basically go in there, and I'll tell you about the dark patch, but I basically go in there and I would just get all worked up and talk about anything and everything for 45 minutes and ramble and whatever. And she would just listen. And then at the end of it, she would say like, boom. She would just hit me with these dagger one-liners that were so like to the core of my being. And I was like, yep, you're right. All right. And so I think one of them, and really like in evil in my life that I think back and how much fanfare I gave this was, you know, athletes were very intense, and college athletes are some of the most alcoholic individuals. It's one of the most
because it's college and intensity.
Yeah, and you just work hard and you play hard. And I've seen this, and I think for me as someone who also dealt with a lack of confidence and nerves and was uncomfortable in a lot of social settings, for as much as I'm a social person, I would get very uncomfortable, especially when lacrosse wasn't going well. I had no confidence in social life because that was my identity. And so I would drink a ton in college, but it was kind of fine because everyone did. And then college ended, and you still, all my friends and I were still successful in careers, and we were still working out a ton, but we were still drinking a lot. And that, I think, just caught up to me because as it started to negatively impact other things. And I just think back of how much of a free pass I gave that of, no, drinking alcohol is like, that's what people do for fun, and it's fun, and it can't do anything bad. And if anything does happen bad, it's just a funny story. And yeah, I just think back to that. And really the crux of it, though, was that I wasn't standing in purpose. I was circling purpose. And that, I think, for anyone listening is really, I have just seen it so much in the entertainment industry, especially, or in comedy, or even Ninja Warrior, because there's such difficult pursuits that it's tempting to fall into the trap of getting close to it and orbiting it and having a career or a passion or a hobby or whatever that is close to it, but it's not it. And
more.
You want a specific?
Yeah, no, I want more.
All right. Listen, I think there are people who do every field that it works for them or doesn't work. I have come across some people in casting directors, who they've told me that their real desire is to be a performer, but they're not. They're doing casting, and that's close. It's close. It's in entertainment, and there's joys in it because it's close, and maybe it will end up being what they wanted. But I remember, I'm thinking of one person in specific who told me, no, I want to be an actor, but they're doing casting. That's close. You're orbiting it, but I think orbiting it is really dangerous because you're not actually doing it. You kind of ran the marathon.
Yeah, but acting isn't purpose.
Yeah, it is. To some people, it is.
No, acting's the thing, in my opinion, right?
I see.
But what's the purpose? What, like, the purpose is the why. Like so. Look, I teach martial arts, but why?
Right. I love that. So for me, and it's interesting, and it's all the more reason why I'm so thankful of what I do now. I thought it was acting.
Okay.
And what I loved about acting was that it's people connecting, and there's emotions, and there's real, like, when you're in a moment, there's like a real moment. And then I was coaching, and I was like, oh, there's so many real moments here. And I'm communicating, and I'm with people, and it's competitive. And so I loved coaching. And then, as chapters have gone on, this is the most, and so I know I'm bouncing around, but even as I was doing speaking, part of me still missed working with athletes. And so I started reaching out, and putting that out into the world. And now a big part of what I do is speak to athletes and coach athletes on mental and emotional fitness. And I freaking love that.
What's your purpose? You've talked about it a couple of times.
I think it is to live by and inspire people to believe in themselves and do whatever it is they want to do.
Live by and inspire people to believe in themselves and do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I love it. I mean, my purpose is very similar. I want people to find the power.
I love it.
So we'll talk about this.
I mean, that seems pretty aligned.
Yeah. No, it's just, So that's what I said. Like, so the best way that I do it is through martial arts.
Yeah.
Right. Like, come on, let's go jump on this train. Let's do it. And the martial arts, I always like to say my passion is martial arts, right? Is jujitsu. You know, my power is empowering, and then you combine them, and I have my purpose, and you just give that shit away. You know, you just put it out in the universe. You put you put it out there, and just keep trying to do it, and you don't even worry about like the ROI, right? Because the ROI is a life. If you touch a life in a way, you'll get paid. Somebody, maybe not them. You have no fucking clue. Like Alex, you might not pay me. I touched Alex Weber's life, right? But so but it might not be you that pays me.
Yeah.
But somehow it comes.
I agree, man. And it's, you know, as I'm moving forward in life, because I think there's a balance, and what I'm saying is money has never been a motivator for me because
but you need it. You have to have it.
100%. But I also agree with when I've stood the most in purpose and been the most of value to people, it's happened.
Right.
And it hasn't been something I had to chase. It just happened in, you know, wonderful and fulfilling ways. You know, I will say just like in sports, you need to have some strategy and like put yourself in a position to be successful. And as I've moved through my career, I've noticed and seen the benefits of putting yourself in a position to be successful, you know? So I don't think you can be like reckless with it. But I think unless your purpose has something to do with money, I don't think it's the strongest motivator.
Yeah, no, if your purpose is money, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're going to go down at some point. You're going to go, even when you have it, even because there's an end to it.
Yeah.
Right. Like your purpose, from my perspective, it can't have an end. And money, if you get $100 million, well then, I mean, 200 is cool, but it didn't really fucking change your life.
Right.
Like you were flying private already. You had a yacht, you're doing whatever you wanted already with 100. 200, it's just another 100 million sitting out there in the fucking stock market or something. It's not like.
And you can see the people who have a strong purpose and make money. I mean, that's the dream, right? Because and you can see the people in the world who've done that, like Kevin Hart. Okay. He has a strong purpose and he's made a ton of money and he knows what to do with it. He has an amazing life with family and friends and does all these big and awesome things. But you've also seen, and I think about people that I've come across who don't have a strong purpose, but they've made a lot of money. And just like you're saying, okay, cool. You can technically throw a cool party on a yacht and people will come, but that's not what real joy is. Real joy is a backyard barbecue with people you love and family and friends, you know? So, yeah, man, I think you gotta have that balance.
Look, I don't want to party on a yacht, right? But if you have enough money to party on a yacht,
sure,
with just a couple of people, then fuck yeah, go ahead, do your thing. Right? But it's not a big party on a yacht.
Yeah.
It's not the Dan Blazarians of the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not that. And I mean, I don't know Dan that well, so I guess, I mean, I shouldn't crush him, but it doesn't.
But I bet I don't know him very well. Actually, I don't know him at all. Someone I know well is my ex-girlfriend knows him well. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But I kept dancing around and I'm like, this is just going to get weirder if I don't just say it.
Right.
I think he might have, but I think he has real friends because of sports and because of different like things. If he was just rich dude, I don't think he would have friends, but sports do bring friends into your life.
Of course.
Yeah.
You can't get away from that because you build that friendship in purpose.
Right. Exactly. Right? Yeah.
You build the friendship in real purpose, like in real struggle, no matter what sport you're playing. And look, even for like us as fighters, you need a team. You need a team behind you and with you that helps you train. Yeah. Like, and you build this camaraderie that you just really can't get in any other way. I'm sure you know him, Brendan Schaub.
Yeah.
Right? So he and I we came up in fighting at the same time, and we were just texting over the weekend. And he was like, bro, we were dogs, huh? I was like, yeah, bro, we were some fucking dogs. Like we just had such a good team, you know, and we were super tight because we beat the fuck out of each other.
That's awesome. I mean, I I get it, man. I get it. I've had this. All right. So I want to bounce this off of you because I've heard about this of like, so we're taking like the most alpha sports, right? So lacrosse is pretty damn, you kick the crap out of each other, but I'm not going to even begin to say that MMA and what I think is also beautiful about MMA is it's one of the most timeless sports.
Everybody wants to watch a fight.
Yeah, I mean, and it's literally what humans have done since there was humans. So it's very real. There's no fabrications there, Here's someone I wanted to bounce off you. I have no doubt that this is my question for you. Love or hate? I have no doubt that there are some fighters who enter the ring and they hate their opponent and they fight very well. But my question to you is the best of the best. Do they hate or do they love this sport so much?
They get by the other person. That you have to realize that it's all about you.
Yeah.
It has nothing. It's such a beautiful and violent thing all in once. You have to realize that it has nothing to do with the person standing off across the cage. Because if it does, right? If it deep down, if it does, you're fucked. Because now you're relying and depending on somebody else to bring you happiness in some way.
Yeah.
Right. To bring you fulfillment, to bring you. Yeah. So it's got to only have to do with you. And if you don't love you, then you're fucked. You're just fucked. So it's for me, everything is love, everything is love. I say it all the time. I have these two posters behind me, and one is Martin Luther King, darkness can't drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate can't drive, only love can do that. And the other one is the man in the arena. So first is you have to love yourself. And then second, you have to enter the arena, right? You have to just keep entering the arena. So the arena for me and for fighters is fighting. It's the cage, right? You got to make that walk. It's a choice. And that's where your power lies. Yeah. Your power lies in the choice to make the walk, the choice to walk into fear, your fear, not their fear. So now you better be prepared. You better know what's coming from the other person. So I always believe in the duality of things. So when you get in that cage, true greatness. Now, what you said about sometimes you go score 4 goals and sometimes you just blow up the whole fucking game. I mean, I can relate to this so much because I wasn't in touch with myself. I was so afraid that I wouldn't let my true skills shine. I was so afraid to lose the fight. So if you really want to shine,
I see. Yeah.
Right? If you really want to shine, especially in fighting or in any sport, in my opinion, your greatness lies where your death is. They're in the same place.
I agree.
So if you're not taking the risk to be great, if you're not taking the risk to die, then there's no way that you can take the risk to be great.
I love that, man. I really do. And it's, we live in a very safe reality. But you're right. I mean, I think about any time I've ever done anything, like even competing on American Ninja Warrior, like I think back to high school hockey, which, and I was like, I'd love to die out there. What a cool way. And I know you get this. So some people listening, that might sound odd, but it's like, if you are actually accepting, I'd love to, that's when all the good stuff actually happens, is in that, and even going into American Ninja Warrior. I mean, what I say to myself is you're a creature on a floating rock, like everything you have, give it absolutely everything you have. What are you going to hold back? And I mean that. And I think, that's what I'm hearing from you too. And especially to go out in purpose, that is a glory that doesn't exist. No one goes out in that. And purpose. You have the moments of purpose and then kind of ...
It's not all the time, right? Yeah. You have to be working in purpose always.
Right.
You have to be, this is why I'm doing this, but it's not an all the time thing.
Yeah.
Right. And then, like you said, there's got to be a system to it. There's got to be skills to it. It's a hard thing. It's a really fucking hard thing. And it's so, it's almost like if you break it down to like hours spent versus dollars made, you're working for pennies. Right. You're working for pennies. So that's why it can't be about the cash money.
Yeah.
Right. It can't be because everyone's working for pennies. Even Joe Rogan right now. Joe Rogan's rich as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think that took?
Oh yeah.
Like how many hours?
Yeah.
Of honing the skill and failing. Right. You're in the world. You're in the stand-up comedy world, right? It's brutal. It's fucking brutal. All, you know, like what shows are you doing right now? Like, are you like, you're not fucking backing up Rogan. I mean, are you? I don't know. Are you backing up Rogan? You know, you're honing your craft, right?
I agree with that of like, well, two things. One, there is no substitute for experience. And I think it's great that people go and like get knowledge wherever you can, get certificates, all that good stuff. Well, there is absolutely no substitute for doing. There's no substitute. And that will be the biggest teacher of them all, you know? And that's, you know, one thing I'll say is like what I've found over the last years is I tell myself like fall in love with it. You got to fall in love with the moments because these little moments like, and I try to catch myself of like, so if I'm training for Ninja Warrior and it's late on a Tuesday night at midnight and I'm at this gym in East LA, an hour from home, and my hands are all beat up or whatever, I'm joking around with the other competitors, or you got to fall in love with those moments because that's freaking everything, you know?
I personally love like fight week.
Yeah.
You know, like before, after, all, like I love fight week, you know, because the team gets close, right? Like the people that you're there with, you get close. And like right now we're quarantined in a hotel, right? The residents in and fucking, you know, we call it quarantine in because we're not allowed to leave when we go. And you're with each other. And it's like all of the teams abide by these rules. Like no one locks their door because you're the only ones in the hotel. Only the fighters in camps are in the hotel. So it's almost like, yeah, no one's going to steal because if you steal, everyone else will fuck you up. It won't just be who you stole from, you know? So it's right. Like, so we all abide by these rules and it just has this atmosphere to it where you just get tight, man. You know, you get tight because you are living together before something that is so important.
Yeah.
But is it really? Like,
well, you know, is it?
Is it really?
I don't know. Is it?
No. How can it be? We're on a floating rock that's going to explode at some point.
Well, but it's, so then you said duality, and I agree with that. Where it's this interesting. It's this interesting threshold of understanding, like you said, the perspective of floating rock, and it doesn't matter that much, while also caring about it so damn much that it does mean everything to you.
Everything.
And it's like, how do you walk that tightrope? It's tough. I keep trying to balance on it.
I mean, I think I have an answer.
Hit me, man.
Do you know who you are?
Love that.
Like really, like because when I say, do you know who you are? I am, like these words from my perspective. The answer to whatever comes next, I am. Like I am a. It's got to be very neutral because it can't be champion. It can't, right? Because you might not always be the champion.
Right.
For me, like I am a father. When will I not be my kid's father? Forever. Right? I'm a teacher. When will I not be? Forever. Right? So these things that I say about myself, these I ams, they're unfuckable with. Right? They're totally unfuckable with. You can't fuck with them. On my worst day, in my most unskillful moment, they're still true. And then in my most skillful moment, they're still true.
Yeah.
So I can have no money or I can have $1 billion. I can win the title or I can just never win again, but they're unfuckable with. So therefore, when it comes time to actually do really, really important shit, I know that it won't touch who I am. So if I am okay, well, then I can either do great or do terrible and fuck it.
Yeah.
And it gives me the space to try to, it's just what works in my mind. It gives me the space to try.
Yeah. I love it, man.
You know, it gives me the space. It removes me from the result of anything.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we attach ourselves to results.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And it is, man. It's such an interesting thing. And being like elite athletes, you need to have that thirst and that hunger because that is what drives you to do absurdly feats and train and give the best of yourself and sacrifice and all of that good stuff. So again, it's a tightrope. It's like, how can I have that fire where I'm going to fucking do absolutely anything to make this happen, while also knowing in my core that I'm still worthwhile, of value, worthy of love, all that stuff, if it doesn't work out.
It's so hard. It's so hard. You know, for me, it's a daily practice. That's you can't skip it. Right? You can't skip it. If you skip it, you're fucked. You're fucked. You don't have, I don't think I ever have it. Like I have to fucking hold these goddamn beads in my hand and breathe, you know, and have gratitude and do all this dumb shit to remind myself every day. Like, oh fuck, okay, again, you know, it's like taking a step again.
Yeah.
Until it's just what it is. So how about you? How do you do it? You know, what is it that you do to hold yourself accountable?
No, and I love that, man. I mean, I think to hold myself, I would say 2 is 1. Am I being like really honest with myself? Am I really being honest with myself and not like BSing? And I'm pretty damn aware and honest with myself. And then 2, and this is 1, is just, am I absolutely giving my best? And and that one is just like, I encourage anyone, just honor that one, because that's kind of my like fail safe of like, even if I don't know what's going on, or I don't know if I'm making the right call, or however I feel, if I'm just like, whatever, let me just do absolutely my best that I can do right here with this, things usually build from there, and it goes okay, you know.
But you have, but it's key what you just said first, is you have to be able to be honest with yourself, because a lot of people think they're doing their best.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're not even close.
Yeah.
Right? You're not even close. Oh, I worked a 9 to 5. Well, that's great if that's all you want.
Yeah.
Right? That's 100% if that's all you want. But there's no such thing as 9 to 5 if you want more.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I think you got to fall in love with it, like we're saying, because if not, it'll just be such a grind. Because to clock in whatever it is, 17 hours, or to do that, what's needed, if you don't love it, it's going to be brutal.
But I think, look, you and I are lucky because we get to clock in for what we love for 17 hours. I think where some people who aren't as happy and aren't as satisfied as maybe you and I are, is they get stuck behind bills, right? They get stuck behind bills. What they love doesn't pay them, so they got to get a 9 to 5. And then that 9 to 5, after the 9 to 5, like, what do you do with the time after 9 to 5? Because there's a lot of time. 9 to 5 is 8 hours. There are 16 more hours in the day, and you only need, look, if you really want it, you need 5 hours of sleep. So you got 11 more hours.
Right.
What are you doing with them? Right? What are you doing with them? And now in those 11 hours, that's where your best lies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's it. And I think oftentimes it's just like taking that step to put yourself, a lot of it is taking leaps.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, and that's what I've realized more and more. It's if you are able to take scary leap that aren't really scary, but it's more of like societally scary.
Oh, they're fucking scary.
Yeah.
Look, I think, and I don't know what it is, but like, I know my generation, for example, we were told to go to college, come out and get a job.
Yep.
And a lot of people do that, right? I think a lot of people still do that. I didn't do that. I went to college, but I didn't get a job, and right? And maybe you're almost a decade younger. Maybe this different idea was placed upon your generation. I'm not sure, but man, get a job, like, and then you buy things that you can't afford because you have a little money. You got a house, you got a car. Next thing you know, you're like, fuck, like I can't chase, right? I can't chase what I want to do. Like like it sounds like you've chased what you've wanted to do your whole life and figured out how to make money.
And that's the question. But the question was, and it was my senior year at Penn when I was supposed to go into finance. I asked myself, what do you want to do with your time on Earth? What do you want to do with your heartbeats on Earth?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're talking about, that acknowledging of being okay if you die. Like, because then you're like, all right, I genuinely am okay if I die. So then I don't want to because I freaking love it here, but I am okay with it. And I think in that freedom, then it's like, okay, well, then you can do what you really want to do. Because there are some games, and you just nailed it. There's a lot of games, like we're on this game board of Earth, but there's so many different games that are going on. And I think a lot of people get caught up playing a game that they didn't even want to be in.
Men lead lives of quiet desperation.
Oof. Oof.
Because they get stuck. They get stuck. And then, the quote is men. So any gender works here. But what do fuck you, because you get stuck. You made a choice. You made a small choice at some point in your life that is now a snowball, and now you're behind the 8 ball. So how do you get out from behind the 8 ball? There's so many people struggle right now, financially, emotionally, physically, with like their health and their bodies, right? Like how do you get out from behind that fucking 8 ball? It's such a hard thing. And for me, that's what I call find your power. That's getting out from behind the 8 ball is how you fucking do it.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you're right. I'm thinking about that. And I'll also say one thing, with that, because that's so real. And if anyone's going through that, like that is so real. And I call it like the river current also, because if you're in that, it's busy. It's busy, right? And like you're going to your job, and then you got to pick up your kids, and you got bills, and then, and your phone's going off, and you're human, and maybe you went down a scroll hole or whatever, but you're just in the river current. And I would say number one is find some time to pick your head up and think objectively and strategically about how things could start to change.
Write them down, right? Like write them down. What are the steps to change? What are the steps? And I think sometimes, just like our negative thoughts, we just spin our steps around in our head, right? And everyone's felt the negative loop of, well, this, and then everyone's done that self-talk. But we've also done the self-talk of, well, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. But we never put it anywhere. We never put it on paper. We never put it out in the universe, so that once it gets out of your head, something will hold you. In my perspective.
Yeah. I want to share, because you asked such good questions at the beginning, and it's exactly, and now we're kind of like, we're in it, man. We're talking about it. The move is quite literally my lifestyle. My river current is Los Angeles. So many things I do, all that, but I know that I want a different lifestyle. And I want to, and I might be wrong, but I know that I want to experience it or try it. So yeah, I mean, what Elliot's saying here is exactly what I'm trying to do right now, of giving away things and ending my lease and going to Colorado. And listen, there's also part of me, and I've talked to good friends of wherever you are, there you are, and that's where you are. And so I'm not trying to outrun anything. But sometimes we do need to make changes, I think.
Yeah. Without a doubt. And they're hard. They're so hard. Because naturally we like homeostasis.
Right? Totally.
Because just genetically we want to survive. And if it's constantly changing, it's very hard to survive. Right? Just for a cell, right? Just like down to our, a cell in our body. If it's always like in flux, your body's like, what the fuck, man? So it tries to hold on and stay right where it is. You got to fight against that urge.
Yeah.
You got to fight against that urge. So as we close up here, man, I like to ask 2 questions. The first one being, this podcast is really not going to do much for you because I'm not super famous, right? Like it's not Tim Ferriss, it's not Rogan or Jocko or one of those massive podcasts that just explode people's platforms.
Sure.
Why do you say why do you, and not to toot my horn here, this is not the answer. I want to hear, like, why do you say yes to opportunities that you don't know what they'll do for you, even maybe nothing?
What a great question, man. And I appreciate the it's a really honest question. Honestly, because I love to do this and I feel like it's what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I had the human part of me that is moving. I'm looking at all my boxes right now. I'm boxing up and literally it's like we're about to hop on the call and I have the human part of me that's like, that chirps up of like, no, you got to move. And I'm like, that is not why I'm on earth. I'm not on earth to put things in boxes and move. I'm on earth to do this. And I love doing this. And yeah, man. So that's why I say yes.
Cool. I mean, yeah, I agree. Sometimes you end up on a podcast, you're like, oh man, this dude's never been on a podcast before. It's his first one. Right. You know, you're like, all right, here we go. No, but it's okay. You work through it, you know, you work through it.
And I'd also say to this, like, you know, it's not totally the starfish thing of like, you know, if you're walking on the beach and the starfish, you throw a starfish back, it made a difference to that person. But I will say, if you're listening and anything that Elliot or I've said has hit you or connected with you, and if you reach out to Elliot or myself, that's like my heart bank. And I put that in to know like, okay, you're doing the right thing, you know?
That for me, that's my ROI.
Yeah.
That's how I judge my ROI, right? It's like, okay, did I do something that touched a life? If I did something that touched a life today, we're rich as fuck. Like I am so rich, you know, I am so rich. I'm so wealthy. Like, did I touch a life? Okay. That's what I'm calling rich, right? Money. Man, people have been making and losing money for fucking ever. Bitcoin and fucking blah, blah, blah. And hula, you know, like money comes and goes. We can figure that part out. You know, we can figure that part out. Last question is, what's your power? I believe everyone has a power that makes them amazing in the world.
I think my power is that I genuinely think that I can connect with anyone. I think that I've lived a lot of a very diverse, and I have a lot of fire in me. My therapist wanted me to get rid of the fire, and I resisted it. Bruce Springsteen's got a great line. He's like, you know, fire can be dangerous, but there's a lot of people who do great things when they got a little bit of fire in them. And so, and I feel that in you as well.
Don't get rid of the fire, bro.
I know. I don't want to.
You have to learn how to control it. It's got to burn efficiently.
Yeah.
Right? It's got to burn efficiently. It can't just be blazing out of control, burning down fucking towns and forests and houses. Totally. Don't get rid of that motherfucker. He's good. It's good for you.
I agree.
Man, I know you got a book coming out here soon. I know you got, you know, you're doing all kinds of stuff. Tell everyone where they can find it all.
Thank you, man. And Ellie and I were joking. This isn't either of our like main things or you know, our what is it called? Promoting isn't either of our like strongest suits here. But I spent this spring writing a book while I was training for American Ninja Warrior, which was pretty cool because it kept me honest. But it's called Fail Proof, Become the Unstoppable You. It's about how you don't stop when you decide something matters to you.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. So check it out. Where can they get updates on that? Where's your Instagram, your website?
Yeah, I'm Alex Weber with 1 B. I'm Alex Weber on all the things. And that's Fail Proof on Amazon. And I appreciate it.
Fuck yeah. Well, guys, as always, Alex has his power and I have my power. Please don't go out in the world and try to be Alex. And please don't go out in the world and try to be me. Everybody go out there and you find your own power.